just wondering if we can connect, if we can really connect with each other and discover something together. Already we've heard these brilliant speakers and telling their stories and how stories of transformation. So I was with this question, have we changed as men? And I'm still with the question. And I asked somebody on the way in, have we changed? And he said, no. All right, okay. So when I got to the question, I started to think, are things different? And we are living in the best possible time for human beings right now. It's just never been as good as this for us, ever. Just if I cast back, and I'm a little older than the other guys, when I was born in 1947, just before, about 6 million people had been gassed. And now, we're much more aware and awake than we ever were of the way that we can hurt each other. And the reason for that is, and it's a gradual process, is that when I really become present to myself, when I really connect with myself first, and then I look at you, and if I can make a connection with you and see you, I'm not going to hurt you, because I've connected to myself, and I don't want to hurt myself, and I don't want to hurt you either. And so this is the development of us as human beings, and it's happening. And we have the opportunities now that we didn't have before to connect with each other. And I know all the other arguments about disconnection and all that, but there is this possibility now. And that's what I'm working with, and that's what I love to do. And there's things that can get in the way. Many things get in the way. Like for me right now, these lights are getting in the way a little bit, because I can't see you. I can make eye contact with a few of you here, but I can't see what's going on. And I know that perhaps you can see me, but we have, when we can connect on so many channels, and one of them is visually, and it helps a lot. So we have this time in the world when things are better. For instance, the crime rate overall is going down, the murder rate is going down, the number of casualties is less than it's been ever. I mean, if we go, again, I'm thinking of the Second World War, 25,000 people were bombed in Dresden by British bombers in a couple of weeks. 25,000 people died. Just like that. I'm remembering I met a guy who told me that there was a soccer match in London just during the war, and there was 50 people got crushed in the crowd. And what happened was that they took the people away, the bodies away, and played the match. Can you imagine that happening now? So now we see we're becoming more sensitive. One guy gets dragged off a plane, and suddenly all the shares in that company drop like crazy. You can't do that. And we see it live. Before that might not have even been reported. It might not have even made any kind of paper at all. One guy getting dragged off a plane. So what? But we're more awake, we're more sensitive. We're developing this sensitivity. And men are doing this too. It's not just women's sensitivity, but this is all of us. And it means as well acknowledging our vulnerability. I feel the vulnerability sitting here, just to be in front of you, it makes me feel vulnerable. But a few years ago I would never have been able to say that. You know, I wouldn't have been able to acknowledge it to you. And our speakers tonight have been really amazing in telling their stories about how they became vulnerable, and they went through these turning points, the missing fathers, the lost fathers, the absent fathers, and how can we retrieve ourselves from not having a father that's kind or that's present to us. And these are questions for us as men, so many absent fathers. And then we have fathers that are really present to their children now in a way that they couldn't be before. I can think of several that I know like that are really with their children in a beautiful way. And the mothers are working, and they have a really good agreement with each other. So I think we're at a stage now in our development, and of course all of us are the whole result of evolution is here now with us. We contain the whole history of the universe within us, and we contain the whole history of mankind here. You and I, right now, in Cork, in the world, are at the leading edge of evolution, all of us. We're responsible for the evolution of ourselves. And in some ways, we can take responsibility for ourselves. Yoga and meditation, which is something that I attempt. I remember Leonard Cohen in his last interview, he was asked about his years studying Zen Buddhism. He was studying Zen Buddhism for 40 years. And they said, "What did you learn?" And he smiled and he said, "I finally learned to stop whining." So, meditation can help. It can actually change the shape of our brains. And this is being explored with science now, although it's nothing new, of course, because people have known this for a long, long time. But there's an explosion of these things in the West, which is a wonderful thing. So I'm full of hope. I think the internet and artificial intelligence is going to help us hugely. I met somebody who'd just been in a conference in Vienna about artificial intelligence, and they told me that they were discussing how artificial intelligence is used in war. All right, we already have it with drones and things, but remember, drones kill a few people, whereas carpet bombing, as in the Vietnam War, killed thousands of people. So they were saying, okay, what about if computers ran the war? And they discovered that if they handed it all over to computers, they wouldn't fight. The war would stop, because the computer would go, "That's crazy. Yeah. Why are you going to knock down everything? Why are you going to kill everybody? That's pointless." So if we hand it over, maybe. But of course, the most important thing is, can I find peace in myself? Thank you.